Orwell's little red book jostled with the embryonic reality of a cybernetic age. Angry anarchists vied with whacked-out weirdos, reality freaks versus space cadets. Pass the liberation and blow your mind. We were on a freewheeling roller coaster veering from sexual liberation to spiritual upsurges, helter-skelter from drugs and rock and roll to macrobiotics and yoga.
Music and mathematics, this outer inner space journey we are undertaking. Absolute silence. Has there been a greater master tape ever?
It was the moment to smash the clocks and arrest time. Revolutionary fervor was running amok. Radical situationists were storming the barricades in Paris. Students and the dropout homeless were squatting empty properties. There was violent demonstrations against the war in Vietnam, in Europe and elsewhere. In the USA, black power erupted into race riots. At the end of August, the Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia laid waste to the dream of the Prague Spring. Wearing a flower in your hair and saying far out man, as sure as hell didn't endear you to heavy political heads.
Outside of main metaphysical, scientific, recreational currents, trends which will manifest themselves even more clearly in a short while, reaching those cosmic regions where liberation is not a conference item, but an experience out of which all future action has to start. Go home and get liberated. Try the next step.
As the cold winter loomed, the casualties of the love generation mounted. The warm glow of the arts lab provided shelter for the shoddy array of the dispossessed and unloved. The walking wounded were turning this once derelict warehouse into a communal doss house. Its proximity to nearby Piccadilly Circus attracted the flotsam of the lonely streets. Lost denizens looking for a place to go, to belong. In 1968, I helped organise at the Royal Albert Hall the alchemical wedding. And so when I came down broke and as a failed artist down the Portobello Road, like many out-of-work actors, I had a little indoor store in a new indoor market. And when I decided to know what alternative things and things people were bringing back from India that I wanted to sell, I started the little company in 1972 on April Fool's Day called Alchemy. And it's been going since then. It's been in 3 or 4 different places in the Portobello Road. And I loved the Portobello Road in the 70s. It was full of creative people and interesting events, and there were all the people who worked in the underground press with me at IT or Oz, all the writers, and so it was a very wonderful time. And in 1972 I published the Handbook of Herbal Highs and on legal highs. And I did, the next year I published the Guide to the East, Overland Guide to India, and I ran my shop and I ran a small publishing business and an Emperor Ginseng company, and so I learned to make a living until in 1975, where I started and published the Brainstorm comics, the work of Brian Talbot, the illustrator, who has gone on to wonderful things. when I met so many interesting people and had published the Brainstorm comics, as I said, and the Homegrown after that, which was Europe's first dope magazine. And I was a networker, and I knew people from the 60s underground and all that period. And at Megatripolis for his 2nd birthday, I was asked would I like to come in as a consultant and help get speakers and interesting underground characters for the chill out room, where I brought Allen Ginsberg there, and I was introducing him on stage, and he'd appeared the night before at the Royal Albert Hall, and he was in Penguin Classics, so there was a lot of fuss. And I escorted him from the Groucho Club in a taxi with a video camera in it to the club, and there was a great deal of excitement, and it was for me and the many who were there a very exciting evening, where he spent an hour doing his poems with his harmonium, and upstairs were questions and answers which I handled, and it's on DVD now.
They say that if you remember the 60s, you weren't really there. But someone said to me yesterday, you have been there. And so I have. I had my first puff at the Holy Herb during the swinging London era just up the road here in Soho. I have been there. I had my first bus in 1966, where I was caught with a prize bob deal that's 25p's worth. In 67, I attended the legalized pot rally in Hyde Park, where I wore my kaftan and a badge saying no search without a warrant. Yeah, man, I have been there.
Rave culture encompassed lots of the lighting and the stage shows and the happenings of these clubs like UFO. So I was invited to one or two, and I started doing spoken word in the chill out rooms, spontaneous speech things. And then I put on 2 parties, Alchemy in Avalon in Glastonbury Assembly Rooms, with Simon Posford and Youth in one, and Rajaram and Youth in the other one. They were great parties. And I ended up doing this spoken word, angel-headed hip-hop with River Styx.